So, I wanted to talk about this very classical debate that we have in information systems, which is called rigor versus relevance. So, what is happening in IS as a field is that there are a lot of work being done on different areas, but most of it, not most of it, many of it do not get accepted because people feel that this is not rigorous enough. What does rigorous mean, being rigorous mean? So it means that you need to have a certain procedure for putting your work out. It has to follow certain standards, certain benchmarks, certain established ways of doing things, like a blueprint, an a very formatted way of doing things, and if it is not ticking all those boxes, then your work is not up to the mark. So this has a very good bright side to it, which is that it leads you to make good quality work only. Whatever work that comes out is impeccable. Like, you, it would be very difficult to poke holes in that. But the flip side of this is, when you start doing that, your relevance decreases. So what do I mean by that? It means that whatever new things are coming, you cannot just accept them. First, you need the new things to be structured, formatted, studied by scholars, and then someone will design a method to go about those things and validate those, and then you will have something that fits your version of being rigorous in this field, and only then can you do that. What is practically happening is that by the time these rules are established, the world has moved on. Like, let's say today is 2025. If I was in 2020, and AI was just hitting the market. Let's say I wanted to study something with AI in IS, and IS to IS, maybe AI, that form of AI was pretty new. So if you published a research on that, many IS scholars, reviewers, they would be thinking that, oh, this I don't think this has any, we don't think this can be published. Maybe AI is not that type of field, but let's say take something else, take something like anything else, let's say quantum computing and some abstract case. So quantum computing is a very futuristic thing. At one point of time in history, it might be that quantum computing, everyone knows that it is the next thing for sure coming. But if you go to some other timeline, people might think that, oh, this, I don't think it is that relevant. So what ends up happening is that by the time IS field gets its hand on some core industry or some core domain, that technology has moved like 4 5 years. We are late, and everyone has started building around those. They know the things, and because of this rigor, stubbornness of being rigorous, you end up having a, a academic structure which is studying these things long after that they have hit our public lives. So that is the problem. So what do you, and people have theorized this, that if you try to reduce relevance, you do not try to reduce, but if you try to increase relevance, your rigor would decrease, and if you try to increase your rigor, your relevance would decrease. So that is like a fine balance, and you have to be relevant enough as well as rigorous enough to be published in this field. So it's like a tightrope that you're walking, and you can be on both ends of the spectrum. Your acceptance would be more on the positive side if it is more on the rigor side, because people would be knowing about that and they would be happy and they would be more able to validate you. But if something is new, if something is more on the relevant side, some might and some might not. The downside of that, of the might nots, is the fact that new work does not enter the field very soon. Like new emerging tech doesn't enter the field that soon. So that is unfortunate for our field as a whole, and I think people need to push boundaries and reviewers need to be a little more lenient on what are they gatekeeping, because there are instances of great work which are solid work that get published in one journal and get rejected at an equally well known other journal just for the sake that, and one might agree very well on its opinion on some paper, the other, how is this possible? Like, so it's very subjective, and if you think what you are thinking is the only correct thing, so then you might be mistaken. So I think humility plays a big role, and this ties back to another point that I made in one of my previous videos, that how academics should not hold their they should not hold the moral high ground, in the sense that we know what we are doing. Yeah, you can include a pinch of humility in that and try to understand and be more compassionate. Not compassionate, I am not saying that if your work is low, be compassionate and just accept the work, but I am saying that sometimes if the work is good, if the work makes sense, if it, I don't know how to put it, but yeah, sometimes not, sometimes you might not necessarily be accurate. That's what is the summary. So yeah, that was a long talk, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.